Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of Punch Drunk Critics, and on this episode, we are talking The Fall Guy. This is one of the biggest movies of the year, I think. One of the most anticipated movies of the year. Kind of like a summer blockbuster has come a bit early, if you ask me. Directed by David Leitch, stars Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Really great cast in this. And talking about this, of course, is my homie, Chris Bumbray. What up, homie?
I'm not one to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I love the Fall Guy. I love the old TV show.
It was one of my dad's favorite shows. So
Heather Thomas.
I saw some episodes and I enjoyed it, but
I'm sure you didn't mind Heather Thomas as well. I feel like you were okay with that.
I did not mind Heather Thomas. And I
Yeah.
was, I don't want to spoil too much about this, but everybody already knows like old cast members show up in all these movies, so I'm not
Oh yeah.
spoiling anything by saying that. Anyway, but the Fall Guy is interesting though because it is directed by Leach, who is a longtime stuntman turned filmmaker, the guy behind Deadpool 2, co-created the John Wick franchise, did Bullet Train. He's really one of those guys who's I think is bringing action movies back in a way, or at least he's trying to. And I think The Fall Guy fits into that mold. But also, it's a movie that is very much a love letter to stuntmen and filmmaking itself. It's a movie that uses a lot of practical effects, really glorifies the stunt people, the unsung heroes of these movies. And of course, it's also very fast and very funny. Of course, it's going to be when you got Ryan Gosling playing Colt Seavers, stuntman who's tasked with finding the star of the movie being shot by the woman of the lost love of his life, Emily Blunt, her character Jodie Moreno. Very fast, very funny. He also got Winston Duke in there, throwing a lot of movie quotes around. I got Hannah Waddingham, who is stunning. I'm sorry, well, Hannah
Yeah,
Waddingham
she's very, very good looking.
from
Striking,
from Ted Lasso was just
striking woman.
incredible.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with this movie, Chris, but I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the greatest thing ever.
No,
I think when it slows down and they start talking, it's actually not that great. The script is not that great. There's a
I mean,
whole
that's David Leitch for me though, like in a nutshell. Like I find he's so good at doing like big action, and when his movies are moving, they're great. I mean, and the Fall Guy is loaded with action. Like
yeah,
it's
oh,
like
yeah.
like
And a
non-stop.
lot of different genres too. He's like throwing
Yeah.
everything in there that he knows.
Yeah, there's fights, there's stunts, there's all kinds of stuff,
The
and
chase with a dog,
yeah, and I mean and
Miami Vice boat chase.
that I loved, and I loved his
You love
Miami
that.
Vice
Did you
jacket.
get one of those Miami Vice stunt team
I want
jackets?
so bad because I thought that was the
Yeah,
coolest thing
even
ever.
I want one.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought that Gosling and Blunt were great. Gosling is a great, I find a really engaging action hero. Some of the action scenes were great. I really liked the whole like kind of mid chase, mid movie chase with the truck and while she's singing while against all odds plays. Like
And
I thought
yeah,
that was
like the
great.
construction equipment is like spinning around and stuff. And
Yeah. And it was just
Fast
very
and
well
Furious.
done. Very well done. No, like with a lot of CGI. My problem with the Fall Guy, and I really liked the movie, and I saw it at CinemaCon. I gave it a great review. Is that I kind of like I wish they hadn't changed the premise of the show that much though, because the premise of the show was really cool,
Yeah.
right? Like it was like one of the best like 80s TV show premises ever, where he's a stunt guy and he's kind of like between jobs because it's an unpredictable industry. He's a bail bondsman. And that opened it up to so many different, genres and different things that he could do every week. And I thought that that was kind of a missed opportunity in the movie
Right.
because the movie is more of a love letter to the stunt community, but it also doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that actually it's not an easy way to make a living, and the money's shit, and and you don't get any glory. Like it's glorifying the trade in a way that's almost kind of not really realistic and not really what the show used to do, because the show was more like it paid homage to the trade, but it also showed it was tough. It's a difficult job, and there's no glory, and and you have to do other things on the side to make ends meet, which I think a lot of stuntmen have to do, and I don't know. I think it could have been a better movie. I think if they'd stuck with like the whole bail bondsman thing, because I didn't care about like the villains in the movie, like the big reveal. I didn't give a shit. It didn't make any difference. I never thought that any of them were any kind of threat to Gosling. He
I
was
also
so
don't know if you're even really supposed to think they are. I
yeah.
mean, I felt like this movie kind of got lost between the Fall Guy movie it wants to tell, and that goofy movie within a movie that they were also shooting.
Which I didn't like either. That whole
Yeah,
thing, there
I
was
didn't really
way
care for
too
that
much of
that
that.
much. because they
Yeah.
tried to make it seem like this was like this was Jodie's like passion project,
It
this thing
looks
she's been dying to
terrible.
make.
Looks like
It
an
looks
awful movie.
awful. It looks awful. It looks like it's making fun of itself, and it's like I don't know if you're trying to be serious here or what's going on because they want us to think that there are stakes involved in this for her and for him, and then you see this stupid movie and you're
Yeah,
like,
it's like maybe she's actually not a good director. She seems like a hack,
right,
to be
she might
honest.
be terrible actually.
Yeah, she's like a total fucking hack, and it's like,
I
and the
also
whole,
just I also feel like the movie's just like a little too cute. And I was
yeah,
about to talk about that, that whole split screen sequence where they're talking and they're kind of alluding to plot developments and the arc of their romance and how kind of formulaic it is. And then there's a part where they reference something that's a little bit convoluted and stuff like that. And I'm just like, when you actually just like have the characters acknowledge that stuff, that doesn't make it okay.
no, I know,
Like
it's like,
it just makes you kind of like, well, just don't do that thing. If you see that it's a problem, don't do it. Like that's always my thing. Like if you know something sucks right now and you're being formulaic, don't be formulaic. Change it up.
that
But
said, I give the movie, I would cut the movie a lot of slack for a couple of reasons, though. One, the action's really good, and
mhm.
also, Gosling and Blunt, they have that chemistry is really, really solid, and I like the fact that
Does
it's a
Ryan
little.
Gosling not have chemistry with anybody though?
I mean, I think he have chemistry with anyone, and he's so Mikey Day and him have great chemistry with when they do Beavis and Butthead.
I
Do you
mean,
see
even
the
yeah, I know that was hilarious. Even Emily Blunt, it's hard for her to have little chemistry with somebody. Like I don't think she had great chemistry with The Rock, but
he does? Oh, yeah, he's
but
having
but in general, she's also somebody. There's like two people that are like easy to pair up with almost
yeah.
anybody. So to see them together, they are really good together. God, Emily Blunt is gorgeous in this too, by the way.
Always,
I mean,
always.
she is anyway. But they are really good together and funny, and sometimes their dialogue together really cracks. I love it. But man, when the movie gets a little too self-aware and meta, I'm just kind of like, whatever, man.
I mean, I kind of hope it does well, and that they do a
Oh
sequel.
yeah.
But I mean, I hope that if they kind of do a sequel, though, I'd like it to be more like the show, where it's like he's on like there's a real mystery, and there's some actual stakes, and he's against. Like, it would be cool for me if he was to like put like his stunt knowledge to work against like bad guys, right? Like a mob or something like that, like almost like effects, where it's like, you can use these skills in a really cool way, which I found they didn't really do in the movie that much, like and and I also didn't like the inconsistency of his injury, because it's this crippling thing, but then he's so invincible the rest of the movie, that he's bouncing around like he's made of rubber, like he's Gumby.
Yeah.
And it's just like and that kind of always takes me out of the film a bit, like
I
make him
also don't like that he had like 5% body fat. He didn't look like somebody who had a back injury for 18 months.
yeah, he looks
You
like
know what
he's
that looks like?
yeah,
It looks like me. He
he looks
doesn't
like
look
he's
like
been working out nonstop, like he never missed a day in the gym, even when his back was all fucked up. Like they could have
right.
made
Like, really? Like you've had a back injury for 18 months? Really? You'd
yeah.
be a lot more doughy than that, my friend.
Yeah. No, no
But
kidding. And well, that's a classic Hollywood thing where they always have these guys with these insane bods, and the women too. And they never actually show like what it means to actually have a body like that. That's why I was kind of interested in that big piece that came out about The Rock, because people are like, well, he's keeping everybody waiting while he does his 3 hour workouts. I kind of get it though, because the guy's like 55, he has that insane body. Yeah, that's his full-time job, and that's probably more important to him than any fucking movie he's on, because movies will come and go, but if he wants to be The Rock, he's got to look like that. So I kind of get why he's like, I'm only going to be available for a certain amount of time doing these movies, because his priority is his body, right? Like that really is his work. Like he can't not have it. If The Rock
yeah, I
ever
get
showed up in a movie where he was even slightly out of shape, people would give him so much shit for it.
oh hell yeah. Hell
Yeah.
yeah. Like if he can't do the Jason Momoa thing.
No, he
Like
can't.
Jason Momoa
Have
is
that. Yeah.
sometimes ripped, sometimes dad bod.
Yeah.
And The Rock can't do that. Number one, he's got the standards of a professional wrestler on him,
Yeah.
so his fans would not tolerate it either if he came out like that. At least not until he's good and gone and old. Like we don't
Yeah.
give Triple H shit because he looks like he's got a dad bod now. But then again, you look at somebody like Chris Jericho who wrestles right now, and they do give him shit for having a dad bod, and he's an active wrestler. The Rock is also a semi part time wrestler right now, so he can't have a dad bod. or somebody like Sheamus who just came back. These are two guys who used to be in great physical condition, and now they're older and they got dad bods.
Yeah.
And fans who used to love them are giving them shit. The
But it's
Rock
it's
would
it's
not be able to
because
handle that if that were to happen.
well, his ego wouldn't be able to take it, and it's like and he's it's not it's crazy the fact that he has a better body now in his 50s than he did when he was in his 20s. Like to me that's insane. But he's juicing for
Absolutely.
sure. He has to be. And it's I mean he has to be. I'm sorry, people say that he's not, but it's impossible. I don't think it's physically possible to have a body like that at 55 unless you're juicing and unless you're doing things and having these insane 3-hour workouts. And it's like you read about Mark Wahlberg, how, he sleeps like 3 hours a night and he gets up at like 4 in the morning and he works out, and that's what he does. And he's got the work ethic to do that. I think a lot of people can't fucking do that. I sure as
No.
hell to do that.
Well, I mean, your average person with an 8 hour workday can't do that. And
No.
a household of kids and stuff like that, they
But The
can't.
Rock, I mean, he must never see his family ever. Like I couldn't
Well,
imagine that.
his daughter's over on NXT, so he don't need to
Yeah.
see her.
I
And
mean, that's also probably though the family business, right? And this is it is what it is. Like this is the lifestyle when you don't know anything but the lifestyle.
yeah,
But that always does bother me though when they make it look, and I think it's almost dangerous when people think that these bodies are so effortless, right? Like Gosling, his workout routine and his diet and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think people could comprehend what it must be like and how disciplined he's got to be. Especially he's in his 40s now. He's my age,
yeah.
so he's older than me. He's 2 years older than me. So it's like it's kind of, to look the way he does is insane. But I also don't think
Really
that
not
he
right the way they put these stars' heads on my body and put these things in movies. And I just don't. AI has gone too far.
people would accept it though if Ryan Gosling showed up with a dad bod in the movie though. I do think
He
people would.
eventually will. He
Yeah.
eventually will.
And he
He'll eventually
did in
show up in
other
a dad
stuff.
bod movie,
Yeah.
and people will love him for it.
Sure. People think it's sexy. They will. They totally
Yeah,
will.
yeah. This is a stripped down performance by Ryan Gosling here. They'll say whatever. Probably win an Oscar for it.
He could have done that in this movie though, and it would have been cool, I think, though, if he had been a little bit out of shape, but still
Yeah,
had been doing like stunts and stuff like that. It was more of
wear a
a
regular shirt like a normal person.
yeah.
you know. But then
But
again, this is a
I
big story.
still enjoyed the movie though. I liked the action. I thought it was had a lot of energy. I mean, I'll watch it again at some
I
point
would
for sure.
definitely watch it again. In fact, I probably will. That's the thing about movies like this. I don't expect them to be perfect. This one's definitely not. But like I always say, or say I've been saying lately, I judge these movies now a lot more by what I think the people in my life will think about them more so than me. And the people in my life will love the Fall Guy
Me
and
too.
won't give a shit about any of the stuff that I've been critical about today. so
I think my only thing that I can say is I think it would be better, and I think that's true for a lot of action movies, if it had been like 100 minutes or 105 minutes.
it didn't
Then
need to be as long as it was.
what?
It didn't need to be over 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the ones that we loved when we were younger, a lot like Speed or something like that. Like they're like $1.45, and that's all you need. That's all you need to be.
I agree. This movie could have been $1.45, but you know what? They would have cut all the Winston Duke scenes out, and that would have pissed me off.
Yeah, Winston Duke, maybe he'll get an action movie of his own.
Winston Duke needs an action movie for him.
Yeah,
Like
he's got
he
it.
was
He's got like the career.
sidekicking that Spencer for Hire movie a few years ago. He played the
He was
man called
wasted
Hawks.
in that movie
I
though. That
know,
was,
but he's funny in this. I really like him in this. But he
yeah,
needs a movie on his own to
yeah.
lead an action movie, and I'd love to see. We should write an action movie for Winston Duke.
He'd be good. He'd be cool. He could do like a Fall Guy-esque type movie too. Like he could
He
have
could do
been
the Action Jackson remake for us that we're writing.
if yeah, you know what? If they were to remake Action Jackson, he'd actually be an amazing choice to be
Yes, he'd be awesome.
he'd be super cool.
I'm gonna pitch it to his people.
Action Jackson.
I'm
Why do
gonna
they call him Action?
I'm gonna pitch that to his people. I'm gonna reach out.
Yeah, yeah.
Say, hey man, we're thinking about putting together an Action Jackson remake. What do you think, man?
It's for sure not going to be Jonathan
He'd
Majors
say
anymore.
no. He'd say hell yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
He'd say hell yeah.
Not going to be Jonathan Majors anymore. So that there's a whole
I
in like
know.
black action star thing that he could totally take. He could take the Jonathan Majors spot, man. He fuck yeah, he'd be great.
Take all of them Jonathan Majors roles, man. Just take them all.
Remake Magazine Dreams, just like CGI him in.
Meet your new Kang. It's
Yeah, yeah,
M'Baku. M'Baku is your new Kane.
yeah, yeah. Well, this like give him like a mustache or something like that, or change
Yeah.
his the way he looks. That's fine. He could play two roles. Josh
Nobody
Brolin.
knew that M'Baku was Kang the whole time. He was just there,
Yeah, yeah, it could be a
witnessing
thing.
everything.
He's like, yeah, this has been my plot the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do it. I mean, fuck, there's been stupider shit in the MCU, so why not?
It all can work. Oh man, this has been a lot of fun talking to Fall Guy. You got anything going on at Joe Bull you want to talk about before we go?
Not much. I mean, no, not really. I'm
My
kind
Cloak
of
and Dagger video is doing well.
yeah, Cloak and Dagger is doing well. What am I doing? Oh, you know what I am doing though? Derek Dunn suggested this on Facebook to me, and I'm actually doing it. I'm doing The Hard Way for best movie you never saw because I watched it again last weekend, and I was because I've been avoiding it because I was like, oh, people
I would
hate
have figured you'd
them.
already done the hard way.
Yeah, I meant to do it years ago. It was one of those movies that was always on the list,
I
and
considered it for
then
real action, but it just I feel like it was just like a little too late for me.
yeah, well, what happened was like I think the week I was gonna do it, like fucking Woods said something that really pissed me off, and I was just like, oh fuck him, and it was, and then I skipped
Yeah,
it.
you don't want to you don't want to put any shine on a guy like James Woods either. I
Yeah,
get that too.
he is really cool in the movie though. Like that's the thing. He's actually pretty good in it. Or the reason
I
I
loved
watched,
James Woods back then, but
yeah,
I
he was
love him now.
great. The reason I'm doing it is because Derek for one, and then also I watched randomly on Tubi one night a movie was in Bestseller. And it's like two assholes are like the stars of that movie. It's James Woods and then Brian Dennehy, who always went around telling people he was a Vietnam vet, which he wasn't. He did that stolen glory shit. So two real fucking assholes, but it was still a really cool movie, right? And well acted and pretty well done. And
Yeah.
so I was, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, so let me give, The Hard Way another shot. And I really had a great time watching it again. I watched it last weekend and it holds up really well. Who's great in it is Stephen Lang as the villain, the party crasher.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's
I
awesome.
I love the hard way, and I admit it's been
LL
way
Cool
too
J.
long since I've watched it, so that might need to be one I need to go. I need to watch again soon.
The story about how LL Cool J ended up in the movie is actually really cool because they wanted Mama Said Knock You Out for the soundtrack. And then because they use it a lot. And then
Hmm.
they were like, the record company was like, that's fine, but you got to put him in the movie somewhere, just like in the background or whatever. And the thing is, he was a natural, right? Like he was just a natural on camera. The
He
camera really
is one of
liked
the
him.
best rappers turned actors, if not the best.
Yeah, he was just a natural, and then John Badham was like, "Whoa, this guy is actually got like he's just the camera loves him. He's good." So they ended up expanding his role, and he's in it quite a bit. If you watch it, like he's got a good role in it, and
Yes.
it's interesting to listen to him in interviews because he's like, I never had any expectation of being an actor, and now he's more famous as an actor than he is as a rapper. I think
Oh,
I
absolutely.
know him as an actor first, and then as a rapper second.
I think people who are born in the 2000s know him as an actor more
Probably
so.
have no idea he was a rapper, but he was big back in the day.
And probably top 10 all time
Yeah,
rapper. You
yeah. I
know.
watched something interesting. I watched a funny clip with Jamie Foxx on Howard Stern where he was asking him about like the fist fight, the infamous fist
I
fight.
saw Jamie Foxx once. He was coming out of
I
a
was
bar
with you. I was with you.
with a bunch of white women. Yeah.
He was not telling me. He was telling Howard Stern that it was that kind of Stone kind of set the whole thing up because Fox was like a super fan of
Yeah.
Jamie of L Cool J's, and he said that like he went to see him in a concert once, and he was in the front row, and then L Cool J like took his shirt off and threw it in the audience, and he caught the shirt and like held on to it like this, like because it was his hero. And apparently they're friends now. Like it was kind of one of those things. It was like,
I wonder if you told him that story. I hope
yeah,
so.
he said they kind of he kind of like it made them do it for the movie because it was better for the movie to have them hate each other, and it was better for the movie to make them hate each other. That so it's kind of true.
Absolutely. Well, The Fall Guy opens in theaters on May 3rd. You should go and check it out. We both recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Your friends are gonna like it too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll probably end up going to see it again. To be honest, like it's a good date movie,
I'm
and
gonna go see it again. I also gotta go see The Phantom Menace again this weekend because it's out in
I
theaters.
was thinking about going to see that again too. I went the last time it was re-released, like at the for the 15th anniversary. It's always God, I remember that was such a disappointment though,
It's
opening
such a
day.
boring movie. It's so
Yeah,
boring. But
yeah.
I'll be honest, it's probably just distance, but I kind of like it more now than I did in 1999, which of course I would because everybody was disappointed by the first Star Wars movie and who knows how long. Everybody was like, "What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Traitors? What?" And everybody, and now you
Trade
want, now I
unions.
watch it and I'm like, I can
It's all this shit about trade unions.
trade. I know trade routes. I don't know watch this, but
Yeah,
but now I watch it and I can laugh at
yeah.
the crappy talk about politics. I can laugh at Jake Lloyd's crappy child acting.
Whoa!
It's awful.
The wizard.
I can still laugh at Jar Jar, and wait for the Darth Maul fight, and
I mean
stuff like
that
that.
fight is fucking awesome though.
It's
Like that is
bad.
like there
It's still
are good things
badass.
in that movie. Yeah.
It's bad. It's badass. Redefined the way we look at lightsaber battles. It's just great. But I can laugh at all that stuff now and not get mad the way I used to. I can deal with it. So I kind of want to watch it in a big screen again. So I think
I
I'm gonna
find it
have
hard
time to
to
do that
watch,
this weekend.
easier to watch that movie than the sequels for the reason being that with Neeson and McGregor being like the leads, they're better actors than Christensen and Portman were at that point because the problem with that I've always had with the sequels is that whenever Christensen is looking at something that's CGI, he has this thing in his eye and you can tell that he's not looking at anything. You can tell he's looking at a tennis ball. Whereas McGregor and Neeson always looked like they were looking at something because they were just better actors. And that was always my problem with the sequels, but it's not as much of a problem with the first movie.
Yeah, Natalie Portman isn't very good at the talking to
She's
CGI
not. No,
stuff
she's
either.
not. She's not. She's not. She became good later, but she's not great in those movies at
Yeah,
all.
yep. I agree with you on that. All right, well, thanks a lot, everybody, for checking out this episode of Cinema Royale. You can find Chris at joeblow.com. You can find me every day at punchdrunkcritics.com. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We got interviews with the cast and director of Boy Kills World up there, and a lot more stuff. A lot of my video reviews that I've been doing lately that you guys have been giving me a lot of good feedback on. I appreciate it. Thank you for all of that. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Do the same thing over at Joe Blow. They just passed like 2 billion subscribers.
900,000, but yeah.
Not bad at all. It's pretty awesome. Congratulations to everybody at Joe Blow. Thanks again, everybody. I will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.